Cartilage is a very strong tissue inside of the body that helps deal with tension and compression. And the properties of cartilage make it very good at dealing with tension and compression. Number one is that there are usually fibrous materials associated with it. Collagen fibers, there can be elastic fibers, but there is usually some sort of fibrous materials associated with it. It also has a high degree of proteoglycans and hyaluronic acid in some cartilages. And these two things basically make it good for its tension and compression job and rubbing up against things, right? And so being subject to high levels of abrasion associated with it. Now, cartilage is avascular, it does not have a blood supply to it, but it is mitotic, so cartilage cells can divide and replace themselves. Okay? Now, when we look at cartilage, there are three different types of cartilage that we talk about. There is what we refer to as hyaline cartilage. That's one. There is elastic cartilage. And there is fibro cartilage. Okay, so we have three different types of cartilage. Now, our hyaline cartilage has a high degree of hyaluronic acid. And hyaluronic acid is responsible for making things smooth, making things slippery. So we're going to find this in our joints, specifically articular cartilage. So if we look at a bone, right, if I just sort of draw a very generic bone, let's just draw this bone here like this, and I don't know, something like that, right? So there's my very generic bone. On the articulation point, there's going to be cartilage covering that, and that will be the articular cartilage, which will be hyaline cartilage. Okay? Our elastic cartilage has elastic fibers, so it is a fibrous cartilage. So it has a high level of elastic fibers, and if we recall, elastic fibers are wavy, like this. They're made of elastin, and they have the ability to sort of stretch and recoil, right? Elasticity and extensibility are not the same thing. So stretch and recoil. So we're going to find elastic cartilage in our ear, right? You can stretch your ear, it sort of returns to place. That's where we're going to find our elastic cartilage. Okay. Then we have our fibrocartilage, and our fibrocartilage is going to have a high amount of collagen fibers associated with it. Collagen fibers are thick, they're strong, right? And so because of that, the fibrocartilage is going to deal with lots of compression. Lots of compression. So you're going to find this in like the intervertebral discs. So those discs that are between your vertebrae, all right, that you stand up on and they are compressed. That's where we're going to find some of that. You can find it in the pubic symphysis, right, between the pubic bones. So that's where we're going to find that fibrocartilage. Okay, so when we look at cartilage, what you're going to notice is that there's going to be these open spaces, and then you're going to have like extracellular matrix out here. Okay, like this. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have a cell inside of that open space, and then that cell will have a nucleus like so, right? And then over here, you're going to have like another open space like this, and then you'll have another cell inside of there, and then that's going to have a nucleus like this. And then you'll have like another open area with another cell in there with a nucleus like so. This open area here, that is known as a lacuna, or lacunae for plural. So there's a lacuna, there's a lacuna, there's a lacuna. And the chondrocytes, the cells, reside within those open spaces, within those lacuna. So when we look at cartilage, you're going to notice that cartilage might look like monster eyes, right? There's a whole bunch of monster eyes looking back at you. Now, when you look at the different types of cartilage, you're going to see some unique features. Hyaluronic acid makes things smooth. So the cartilage is going to look smooth. You're not going to see any sort of like fibers inside of that cartilage itself. And that's because of that hyaluronic acid. The elastic cartilage is going to have elastic fibers, so you're going to see those wavy fibers. They'll be like sort of in here like this, and you'll be able to recognize those when we look at it. And then our fibrocartilage has collagen fibers, and those are going to be long, sort of straight fibers, right, that run in the extracellular matrix. And so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the different types of cartilage and some images of those. Cartilage has a whole lot of tensile and compressive strength. It is a strong connective tissue. And there are three different types of connective tissue. There's hyaline, fibro, and elastic cartilage. They're all sort of a little bit different. But one thing that they share in common is that the chondrocytes, the cells of the cartilage, are found in these open spaces called lacunae. So this is a lacuna here. That's a lacuna there. So the chondrocyte, right, here's a nucleus there of that cell found in that lacuna. So when you look at this, right, to me it looks like a whole bunch of monster eyes are just sort of like blinking at you. Think Monsters Incorporated, right? And all of the different all the different cartilage types have those cells within the lacunae. So we can see the lacuna here with the cell. Here we can see the chondrocyte in that lacunae there. So they all have those cells within the lacunae. Now, a hyaline cartilage has a high abundance of hyaluronic acid associated with it. It has this smooth appearance with it. Notice that you don't see any waves, you don't see any fibers associated with it. It's got a nice sheen associated with it. So that's how we're going to recognize our hyaline cartilage. Our fibrocartilage has a high abundance of the collagen fibers. So it's going to look like this cartilage with the monster eyes, those chondrocytes and the lacunae, mixed with a dense connective tissue, those collagen fibers sort of running throughout there. And then our elastic cartilage is going to look like elastic connective tissue mixed with the cartilage, the chondrocytes and lacunae. So you're going to see a lot of wavy fibers, a lot of elastic fibers. So remember, our hyaline cartilage is where we're going to see points of basically slippage and articulation. You're going to find these in joints like your articular cartilage. Your fibrocartilage, high amounts of compression. So think your intervertebral disc where your vertebrae sit up on top of one another and there's lots of compression there. Fibrocartilage, really good for that. And then our elastic cartilage, right, it's going to be found in our ear because it can have the ability to sort of hold that form. That's what the cartilage is good for. But it can stretch and recoil and go back. Okay, so those are your different types of cartilage.